baby sister. Welcome to Veteranbassin. Today, we have my baby sister with me. She joined the military. To be honest with you, I feel like it was because of kind of like me, our older brother. I feel like she joined the military, but I guess we're finna find that out today. Normally I say this at the end of the video, but you know, subscribe, like, don't forget to hit that notification bell for any new content, and there you go. I got something.
Keep rolling with the punches. I mean, I got kids. What can you do?
That's true. But in any case, we're gonna let Miss Sherry Bailey.
Hopefully, I'm change that damn last name. That demon last name.
We're gonna let her tell her story about her time in the armed forces. And don't mind the dog barking. Oh my goodness. But in any case,
I live in the country. I'm sorry.
So, little sis.
Yes.
When did you actually join the military?
I joined the military February of 2002. I actually did something back then that was called split off.
Split off. So
I joined when I was 17. I was still a high schooler. So I wound up having to do my basic first after I finished my 11th grade year. And then I came back, finished my senior year, and then went to my AI.
Okay. And you did boot camp where?
Fort Hella Hotwood. Yes. I went to Missouri. It was fun and hot and muggy and dry all at the same time.
So you went the summer months?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't you just hate the summers on base?
Ain't nothing to do. Everybody gone.
True. So as far as boot camp go, what was, I would say, your most disliked moment and your most favorite moment?
My most disliked moment was the very first time I screwed up and called my drill sergeant by her name instead of calling her drill sergeant Cobra. And she made me do 6 inches. Well, she tried to make me do 6 inches for 5 minutes, which did not work because at that time it was the beginning of my basic and I hadn't developed the core muscles for that. So I am laying there in the tire rubber watching people climb the tower while she stands over me, straddled, mind you, and yells at me while I'm laying on the ground. That was fun. My best moment is when I graduated and my drill sergeant, of all people, who I disrespected by calling her Cobra, brought me my very first drink, even though it was illegal for me to drink it. We're gonna keep that on the low. She told me she saw a lot of potential in me as far as me furthering my military career, and she shared a drink with me before we actually graduated. So that was my best moment.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think, you know what I'm saying, the drill instructors are supposed to be these bad guys that bark at you 24/7, which they do, but they're human beings too. So you really won't get to see the human side of them, I would say, until about the 5th week, when they actually have broken you down and built you back up, and now you moving as a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
That's kind of where you'll see the human side of them. And a lot of them are actually pretty cool people, and very fun people to be around.
Very much so.
So after boot camp, you go to AIT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where did you do your AIT at?
I I did my AIT at Fort Lee in Virginia.
Good old Fort Lee. Okay. And what were the MOS you were going for?
I was a 92 Fox, which is a petroleum supply specialist.
Petroleum.
I was a glorified gas pump. Yes.
Glorified gas pump.
Yes. I can work at any gas station across the U.S.
So, what was your life like, and how did you enjoy Fort Lee?
Fort Lee was okay. I didn't like the fact that the first day that I got there, they put me in legal company, and we basically had to just kind of keep everything cleaned and shined and spotless for the next crew that was coming. Drill sergeant shows up, we load all of our stuff up, they put us on a cattle truck, and they inducted us into our company, Echo, off over there on Fort Lee, by smoking us in front of the seniors, in front of the building, in the dirt. So our very first day of AIT, we got smoked in front of the graduating class.
Oh wow. Now that has never happened to me. What year were you at Fort Lee?
I went to Fort Lee in 2003.
2003. Okay, at that time, I think, no, I was still in the Navy at that time. Okay. So after Fort Lee, you went to where?
After Fort Lee, I came home. First, they put me with 988 in Dublin because I was a reservist. I didn't do active duty. And yes, people, he is correct. The reason why I joined the military is because all my life I have followed behind my brothers. I am a tomboy, true blue to my heart. And I wanted to do everything that my brothers have done, and so I joined because of them. But again, I went to 988 first in Dublin, and then my battalion commander found out that I was at 988, and I was supposed to have been with 377 in Macon. So I wound up having to go all the way to Macon instead. When I first joined and signed my contract, my recruiter lied. I had the lying recruiter, not the one that would tell the truth. And he gave me the whole spiel of, because you're a reservist and you're a girl, we're going to keep you closer to home. And he told me that once I got done, that I would be able to go to Dublin and drill instead of having to drive, an hour and a half in the morning to go to Macon.
Yeah. And
so that fell through. And the man had the audacity to lie after we fed him catfish and grits. I don't understand. But it was what it was. I've been so my first was 988, my second was 377. I've been in Virginia in 5159 Aviation. I've also went to 1016 Quartermaster, and then my terminal reserve station was my original. I came all the way back home and finished out with my original at 377
okay. And to let you know, she's not joking when she said some recruiters will lie to you to get you in. Not so much now, because now it's pretty much military can have their pick of the litter, and it's to the point now, if I remember correctly, you have to at least have some years of college under your belt to even join.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then they're not really going to look at you. But back then, the military was in hard press for people, and a lot of them will shoot you a glory story to get you in, which it happens. People learn from it. So after your terminal, while you were in, as far as reserves go, I do know, you do your 1 weekend a month, 2 weekends weekends, I guess in summer and the year. So, how was that time for you?
That's when I sustained my first injury. It was fun. I loved going to AT because I got to go to Fort Drum. It was the very first time that I stepped outside of Georgia's AT. I got to go to Fort Drum, New York. And when we went, it just so happened to be snowing. It was awesome. We don't get to see snow but every 20 years here in Georgia, so to be able to go up there and throw a snowball and hit my first sergeant and get away with it was awesome. Because of the military, I've gotten to see things that I don't think I've ever gotten to see. I got to go over to Canada. I got to see Niagara Falls. AIT, well not AIT, but AT is what you make. You have to be able to have fun while you're in the field. Sometimes they have you in barracks and sometimes they put you in teams. I was in for 13 years and in 2007 we were doing our AT in Hinesville, Air Force Stewart.
Oh.
And back then, the military really didn't care about the bodies of their soldiers. So they had a rule of you have to put camo netting over the tents. And you know when you put up the tents, you have the big tent poles on the sides and then the two corner poles. And so the lightweight had to be tossed up on top of the tent to pour camo across so that way they could spread it across the whole tent. And I just so happened to fit that bill. And I was stretching the netting across to a corner pole that wasn't quite secure, and when the pole gave way down, I wound up sustaining a mild concussion. They kind of picked it because they say when I hit the ground I bounced. So I don't understand, but I bounced. They said I stood up and tried to walk, and I went down again. So it's what you make of it. You always have to make sure that in any situation, which I learned later in my career, I was young and dumb when I first came in. I knew nothing of an I love people, and so had I known at that moment, I would have kept my records.
Yeah.
The military back then also had a habit of losing your stuff, so they don't have to pay you later when you get out. But they lost my LOD. So I've been running around trying to get all of my records for everything, but it was fun. Even though I got hurt, it was fun. We had a pump explode, and one of the NCOs was bathed in JP8. It was a scary situation, but it was funny because the moment that the fuel hit him, he was streaking. He stripped butt naked and ran about a mile down the street trying to get to the shower station. It was funny, but it's what you make of it. You have to make it fun, because if you don't, it will cause you to have the worst experience you could possibly ever have. You meet great people, you meet some people who are assholes, but in the end of it all, if you make it fun, then it's a good experience.
Okay, so touching on the military and what's going on in our nation today, would you say that the military helped you to get along with everybody of every race?
No, my mother did that.
Your mother did that. Okay.
Well, let me phrase that. Our mother did that.
True.
Yeah, we weren't raised to see, and I know it's cliche, but we weren't raised to see color. For Christ's sake, we have a brother who's white, Mr. Brian Giles.
Yeah.
And we have another brother who's Haitian, Mr. Daniel McCone. We have Pacific Islanders who claim us as family, which is Valdez. We met a lot of, we have crazy ass people named Pinky. And he's from Philadelphia. You've married people in your time who, were different from us. I married someone who was a melting pot of a mutt. He was black, white, Cuban, Indian, Canadian, and Scot. So the military didn't prepare me for what's going on in our world today with everything that's happening as far as the racial tensions, political scandals, or anything else. That was built and bred in me at home. The military didn't do anything except for expose me to it in a different manner than what I had been exposed to it being at home. Through you and Dre, I've got to experience a lot of different things as well. I've had experiences with different people that y'all brought into the house, whether some were good and some of them were bad. I've been called everything other than a child of God and a child of God, dealing with, some of y'all friends and significant others. They weren't the same race as me, but it was something that needed to be experienced for me to have the knowledge and the wisdom that I have.
Now you did 13 years in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any stories again, we want to have respect here for our armed force members. So if there are any subject matter that they feel uncomfortable and that they don't want to talk about, we fully understand that and we agree with it. But are there any stories that you want to share about your life, your career in the armed forces that you want to tell?
There's something called sharks that I've experienced, and I know there's a lot of males and females out there who are veterans who know what that means. I won't go into detail, but it's been more than one time that I've had an experience with sharks and having to file, EO complaints, going to IG. Personally, for me, I was one of those that really didn't talk about it. I'm a person that kind of bottles it up, but my rage kind of lets itself out in the wrong way. So I don't really talk about it. I don't really tell the stories. I'll kind of hit and miss and touch, but the only thing, I would say is, as far as my experience in that, if someone out there is watching the video and you've had an experience with having to deal with sharks, then don't go silent. Speak your mind. Let it be known what has happened to you. It's not right. It's not fair. It's not your fault. You need to make sure that you get the proper people in place and make sure that you get all of your paperwork in place and make sure that it doesn't happen to someone else. I've also been married to military, which isn't fun, but it's a way. I've experienced different things across the board. I've been a male spouse. I've been a soldier. I've been a sister of soldiers. I'm now the fiance of a retired vet. So it's different aspects to my life as far as experiences dealing with the military that I have. Each one of them is different. Each one of them has their good and their bad moments. You just have to be able to take it with a grain of salt. But if you've experienced sharks out there, don't hold it in. Express it. Tell somebody. Let them know so you can get the proper help.
Now, it is a touchy subject, and with sharks, and it is something that I never knew about. As far as my baby sister being in the military, I did not know that she's had to deal with that. But
It's not much that I tell my brothers about my military experience because I know how they are. They're very protective, and so I didn't feel as though it was something that I could come out and tell them. I didn't want them to think differently of me, even though I was the victim. I still, and it was a NCO that did it. I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want them to look at me differently or blame me, because I should have had the knowledge to understand to open my mouth and talk. But because of the scenario and because of what was happening, and it always seemed to happen on a drill weekend, I just didn't want to divulge information like that. It just made me feel like I had done something wrong. So I never really told my brothers.
And to speak on that with sharks, 9 times out of 10, it will be a female that it happens to. Don't get me wrong, there are men who have to deal with it also. I'm not going to go into what it is, but I'm about betting that you can So, and it is a subject matter that does happen. It does happen in our armed forces. Regrettably. And it is a subject that needs to be addressed and handled with delicacy and care. Again, I did not know that happened to you, and I want to apologize that it did. I didn't think that, so I just learned something new about you.
Yes, you did.
I did. That there is no laughing matter, and I thank you for sharing that story with me. Is there any other story that you would like to put out there and talk about?
I have been having issues that you don't know about either. I'm a secret holder, people. I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety, panic disorders, severe depression. I'm one of those soldiers that, as you saw in the previous video, that deals with, how can I say this? I deal with the mental side of things. Since getting out of the military, I didn't understand why it was I couldn't be in a crowd of people, why it was that I would get very snippish and very snappish at my significant other, sometimes at my own mother, which I know is wrong, but I didn't understand why things were happening the way they were happening. And I went to a therapist, which my brother does not know that I've been going to a therapist, and he has not officially yet diagnosed me. However, we're going through the stages of me being diagnosed with PTSD. My brother does not know that. This is the first time he's actually getting to hear. Neither my oldest knows, but Shun or Veteranbassin doesn't really know. It's been going on for quite some time, and I've been trying my best to deal and cope and find ways of being able to function better in the world. It's hard for me to step out there. Most of the time I just want to kind of hide away from the world. The only thing that really kind of keeps me going is the fact that I have children and I have a family. I have a great support system, and for those of you who do have PTSD and it is diagnosed and you are taking necessary precautions to see about yourself. It's not easy. I'm learning that hard way. But your family, your children, your brothers, your significant other, they can all be a very strong base, a very strong foundation for you to help you figure out ways to cope with what you're dealing with. It took me a while to be able to sit down and actually talk about the things that I've been experiencing and dealing with as far as learning my triggers and my stresses from having it. But if you do have it, or if you see signs or symptoms that you may be experiencing PTSD, again, get help. Find someone that you can talk to, someone that you can utterly put your trust in and know it'll go no further than you and that person. Or go find a therapist or get whatever help you need. It's not something that you can cope with alone. I thought I could do it. I was wrong. And so I guess we're sharing secrets on this couch today. As you can see, my brother is very kind of shocked. It's not something we really talk about. It's my military career. We talk about his a lot, but we really don't get on that. If you're experiencing anything like that, get the necessary help that's needed and lean on your family. That's what they're there for. They're there to give you that help. They're there to give you that support. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. It gets better with time. You just have to make sure that you are seeking the right avenues in the process to get you to where you can function. And just because you don't go across seas does not mean that the military cannot cause you to have PTSD. Mine, I feel personally, was triggered from my injury when I fell, because I have night terrors of falling now. So it's not something you can cope with. It's not something that you can deal with on your own. Always seek help and lean on your family for understanding and support. They're there for that. They can handle it, but you have to open up your mouth and talk. Closed mouth don't get big.
Yeah. That's something I did not know. I didn't. And you're right about that. But the problem with that is that, you know, in the military, you are trained to, be tough.
Not show your emotions.
Not show emotions, and to be able to adapt and overcome to complete the mission. So with that, a lot of people in the military, they don't speak on it because, they see it as weakness. And the other part is that they don't think people will understand. Now, in my situation, I didn't really tell anybody about it either. And it took for me to have been going to the VA and a nurse there, and I'm not going to speak on her name, but she pulled me to the side and she talked to me, and she was the one who told me that I was PTSD. She was the one who told me, and I denied it, and she sat there for about 30 minutes talking to me and telling me everything that I was going through, and that she's noticed it each time I went to the VA. And it took her to actually walk me over to the mental health department and make me schedule an appointment for me to get, the help that I needed. Now, has it gotten any easier? No. But I find that, you know, it's becoming a little bit better to talk about it, you know, with people. So, is there,
You scared to ask this question again.
So, in finding all this out, are there any other subjects you want to talk about that, well, we might save that for another. We might save that for another one. That one has been a shocker to me, and I don't know for me. But have you any advice, not only for young soldiers, but more specifically for the young ladies out there looking to make a career in the armed forces and wanting to join and support their country?
Your career comes first. When you decide to go into the military, which is something that you have to make sure that you stay 100% focused on. There are guys in the military, obviously, but a lot of them aren't good guys. Some of them are straight dirtbags. Your career needs to come first. You need to focus. Make sure that no matter what, you stay goal-oriented. Get your education while you're in there. Use that money. Use the military wisely. And try your best to get your 20 years. I got 13, and wish I could go back now and get that 20. But in the process of being in the military, I wound up having kids, which kind of derailed my ambitions, because after that I had to put family first, which isn't a bad thing, and I'd do it again. But stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your dreams. Men and family will come later. It's never too late to get that. But if you're going into the military, you use that as a stepping stone. So once you come out, you have a way of getting a job. You're having a way of standing on your own 2 feet, being financially stable without anybody's help. If you do it, always make sure that you protect yourself, cover your ass. Start you a I Love Me book no sooner than you get in. Always keep your original copies. Always give your unit the photocopy paperwork, and just make it as fun as you could possibly make it. Make sure that you take the time also to focus on you, because you have to make sure that you take care of you. No one's going to do it the way that you can, and you can't conduct and complete your mission if you're not okay. So focus on you, get your education, family will come later, stay focused on your goals, get your 20 years, and y'all have a great day.
Well, with that being said, we love you. Have a good one.
Mwah.